Hello, listeners. My name is Charles Scott. The program in which you are about to listen to is called Can We Talk? It's a weekly program that comes to your living room or wherever you're watching your TV or cell phone. And I want to introduce myself as the broker and owner of Tri-State Realty and my co-partner here. Maybe
Charles
introduce
Scott
yourself
Jr.
and tell a little about yourself.
Well, they know us by now. We got like 50 episodes now. So yes, Charles Scott Jr. with Tri-State Realty here in the Bridgeport area, helping Stratford, Fairfield County. And we're here not only just real estate, we're here but helping with daily lives, whether it's business related.
That's right.
Or what's going on in the economy.
Some of the things that are going on a week-to-week basis. There's quite a few things that are going on. It seems that home ownership, real estate, rents are in the news today.
Constantly in the news.
Constantly. I mean, you can't turn your TV on, you can't turn your radio on without hearing about home ownership or apartment rentals, building wealth, whatever it may be. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've never seen such an emphasis put on what's happening with real estate more so than what's happening right now.
Yes, and also we're going to tell people about the programs. I wish the programs got more spotlight on the news rather than just the increases of rent, because there's a lot of programs out there that can help people get into a house that they may or may not know.
There's so many things that I think, I don't know, what do you think? Because of COVID, there's been a whole new lifestyle and a whole new way of living not only in the United States, in the whole world.
The whole world's changed.
The whole world has changed around the way people live, the way people buy, the way people find a job.
Oh, yes.
I remember when all of this happened and everything was going to Zoom and everything was going to the tablets and the iPads and
it's gone there and it's stayed there. You see a lot of places, have gone remote and they realize they can save money going remote.
Things have totally changed. I remember when we came out with the computers and the laptops, and I was kind of leery of thinking that people would adapt to all of this. And I was even saying, whoa, we're going to have some problems because mortgage companies, to apply for a mortgage, you got to go online. You got to have a computer. The churches are all being pastored remotely. Pastors. I said this is going to cause so much confusion. And one of the things that brought me down to earth, my mother's over 90 years old and she's on the iPad.
Oh yes.
She's Zooming and
she's going to church online.
And I said, she knows how to do all of this. And look at it this way: people over 90 years old have adapted.
Yep.
They're doing it. And you got the little 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. They can go in there and download this, do that, and they got their little carts.
They got their tablets.
They got their little tablets, and I'm saying the world has changed.
The world has changed. It's gone paperless. Now the thing is, now with that change, you must learn how to adapt to it. Like I said, applying for a mortgage now, you can do it from your cell phone versus back in the day you had to go inside the bank, sit down, get your paperwork. Now you can get a pre-qualification, through an app.
Right through the app. Mm-hmm. You could. The other day I was watching a program, and it showed a person going like a grocery store, and the grocery store, before they left the grocery store, they'd already got all the groceries. They'd apply for a mortgage. They'd apply for this, apply for that, downloaded the information while they were waiting in line, got it all, got an approval for this, that, before they walked out the grocery store and sat back in the car.
Right. Very true. That's possible.
Now the other thing about that is that it shows you that literacy has a lot to do with everything in this world. So there's upsides and there's downsides, in that there must be literacy throughout the different places and throughout the school systems, because I noticed when all of this happened, a lot of people didn't have Wi-Fi.
Very true.
That put people at a disadvantage. In the school systems, they were teaching remotely. So if they're teaching remotely and you do not have a Wi-Fi system within your household, or if the income does not, give cause to you to be able to afford Wi-Fi, that puts you at a big disadvantage.
I'm not naming any names, but last year I rented an apartment. The person wouldn't move in until the cable guy came there and turned on the Wi-Fi. Can't be in a house without Wi-Fi, she told me. I said, okay, I understand.
Exactly, because the other thing is she was working from home.
Oh, yeah, that's very true.
She was working from home. We sold her the house, but she could not move into the house until the Wi-Fi was connected because she wouldn't be able to log on. So she was still staying at a friend's house that had Wi-Fi until she could move into her house. All the habits and everything has changed around a lot.
Yes.
Everything. And now they got the, what is it? Artificial intelligence.
Yes, that's the next wave. People are going to start seeing this year. You're going to see 2023, you're going to see a lot of trending things about artificial intelligence and how it's replacing a lot of tasks that people do every day.
And what happens is that you must be able to adapt to these different things. If you do not adapt, then you're going to be behind the curve. It's going to make your life a lot harder, applying for a job, you know, doing anything. If you're applying for a job, if you're doing your grocery shopping, these are things that we're talking about that are not coming, but that are already here.
Yes.
I know Amazon has stores that you can walk into without your wallet, without your credit card, without anything.
Just your cell phone.
Just go in with your cell phone, pick out the whatever items you want, or groceries, put it in your bag, and walk right back out of the store.
And they charge you right there the second you step out.
Minute you step out, they've already got a computer chip which has analyzed your facial expression, your face.
What you put in the bag, what you put back.
What you put in the bag, what you put back. And you walk in, put everything in the bag, and you walk back out of the store, and then you automatically get a bill sent right, or not even a bill, it's charged right on your credit card.
Now, people say, wow, that's amazing. I mean, honestly, the technology is very new. It doesn't work 100%, but those 3 or 4 items that the computer may miss, they don't charge you for. Think about how much money they're saving not having a cashier sit there all day getting paid what's minimum wage now, $15 an hour. So you're going to see a lot of these stores adapt of cashier-less places like self-checkout and automatic checkout.
Exactly. So, you know, one of the things why, I'm saying this is that this is just the beginning of some of the changes that are going to occur. And what you need to do is have as much knowledge as you possibly can. I know we talked earlier about how little people actually read or watch different types of information. But you have to, in order to deal with the new world that we're in right now. Things are moving at a very rapid speed.
Very rapid.
There's all kinds of technology that's out there. One thing is that happening, they're wiring cities for Wi-Fi.
So that's a fiber optics.
Fiber optics throughout the entire city, so no matter where you live, you got your pads, you can log right on, and you'll find that that's gonna help with everything.
Yes.
Because the whole city is Wi-Fi wired.
Now remember, that's not going to be free. They're still going to be charging a service fee for that.
Exactly. One of the things too you got to realize is that the computers and the technology will be outdated because you're going to need more. What is it? We used to call it bandwidth. What do they call it now?
What do you mean as far as memory and everything?
Memory and you got to upgrade your computer speed more than anything, because everything is, the days I remember you sit there, and many people out there can relate to this. When you sit there and the circle just keeps going around and around and around, and you're waiting and waiting and waiting for it to fill in, and you see the little bits and pieces of the face, and then finally it fills in. Now you hit the button, boom, everything's in front of you.
Yeah, you're going to see, I remember reading a book a long time ago just saying how in the future, years from now, there will be no buffering, there will be no loading, everything will just be instant. You press it. Kind of similar when you press Netflix, the movie takes about maybe 4 seconds to load. That 4 seconds is getting cut down every year, as you see. Soon you just hit play, and it plays like as if the DVD's in your house.
That's it. One of the things that I was looking or I watched today was that some of the things that they're trying to do is to create housing more affordable for people.
Yes.
What has happened possibly between the last time we spoke to you and what's happening right now is that people are starting to study the affordability of housing. And there's even becoming now what they call a definition of what is the definition of affordable. And to one person, affordable is $3,000 a month for rent. To one person, affordable is $800 a month rent.
Correct.
Depends on the location, depends on the area that you're in, and there's laws that are being drafted to deal with fair housing, to deal with, what do you call it, fair rent controls and affordability. Now, laws are words. So when you put in there affordability, that word can mean a whole lot of different things to a whole lot of people.
Different levels right there.
So you just can't legislate affordability.
No.
You can't legislate, you can't say in a law, you must provide affordable housing in your area. So, okay, what's that mean?
Right. Certain areas, like you said, some rents I see, I was looking for a one-bedroom I saw somewhere in Fairfield County. It was for $1,300 for a one-bedroom apartment. Certain other parts of the city, that could be a two-bedroom apartment for $1,300. So who's that affordable for?
Exactly. Because when the legislators make these laws, in like, let's say, the state of Connecticut, if you're up in Hartford, you write down that you must have so much affordable. Some cities where the laws, they say 10% of the housing must be affordable. Okay? That's a vague interpretation. So that the discussion now is we must narrow down what is considered affordable into dollars and cents.
There we go.
What can the rent be? How much can the lease entail? So now that becomes more of a general discussion and more intense than just to say affordable. The reason why they're doing that is because in the past, the laws have said affordable. And many towns are now objecting to that. You'll find out, what is it? There's a cinema, Nero or something like that, not in my neighborhood. People are saying, okay, I'm not against affordable housing as long as it's not in my neighborhood.
Oh yeah, you see that a lot. Very true.
In other words, put it over there in their neighborhood. So the problem is if you have a lot of people saying that, then you have no affordable housing.
Exactly. Also, to segue what you were saying, I would say with investors, when you put a number on something, that kind of discourages them to even build these houses that are for affordable housing. Because they may say, well, those rents aren't going to break me even. I won't make a profit.
That's exactly what I was going to get to next. What happened, like a lot of people, they're saying, fair rent controls, you have to look at it from two ways. If you have fair rent control, which I'm for fair rents and I'm for affordable housing. Now look at it from an investor's standpoint. What the cities are saying and what the banks are saying is that if you have a fair rent control and you say to all the investors that would want to come and put up apartment buildings and you say to them, well, you can only charge X amount of dollars and you can only increase your rents by X amount of dollars. So the investors are saying, well, why should we build if there's no profit involved? Look at what happened in the last 2 years. Investor builds a building. I know some investors that are having problems right now when they started building and they can't finish the building because the cost of materials have gone up, the cost of labor has gone up, the cost of the permits has gone up. So when they started out building these buildings, let's say it was going to cost them $500,000 to build this building. And they figured out what the rents were going to be at $500,000. Now let's say the city comes in and will say to those people, well, you can't charge rents no more than, say, 80% of what the adjusted median income, the AMI, is for that area. So, okay. The investor is thinking, I'm going to spend $500,000. I am going to build this building, and I'm going to be able to get, say, $1,200 a month rent. And if you look at the math, for what I'm going to pay for my mortgage and my materials, I'll make a profit of maybe 10%. They call it like a cap.
Cap rate.
Cap rate. The cap rate is I'm making 10% on my money. So, that's not too bad. So now what happens is they start building. Now, don't forget, they have to keep the rents at, let's say, $1,200 a month. So now he's planning on spending $500,000, but now he's got to spend $800,000 or maybe $1 million. But he can't charge any more on the rents because that's guaranteed. So now what happens is that it's cost twice as much money to build that building, and he's not making any profit because it's all going into the cost. So you got a fear there as to whether or not he'll even be able to complete building, complete the building.
Not only not complete it, to do future projects. He may say, okay, I'm gonna wait it out for my next project, which then causes the inventory to get even smaller.
Right. So now that developer says, well, I'm not going to build another building because I'm already losing money on this building. And because the rents are guaranteed, or the rent control says I can only charge so much rent. So now what happens is that if all of the people that are building homes decide on the same thing, and they say, well, I'm not building either. And then this one over here, you got Toll Brothers, which builds thousands, hundreds of thousands of homes all across the world. They say, well, we're not building either. So now you have a low inventory. Now there's no homes out there being built.
Exactly.
Now the ones that don't have the rent control, they're saying, well, we can go up on our rent because renters don't have a choice. They got to come to us.
And then the developers who still develop, they're going to say, we're going to develop luxury condos, luxury apartments. So they have that extra room. So if it does go over budget, hey, we're building luxury. So we already have that extra, I'll say, meat in the game as far as equity.
And that's why you see now developers are building, but they're building luxury units. They're building the McMansions. They're building the houses that sell for $2 million, $3 million, because they figure if someone out there's got $500 million or a lot of money, what's $2 or $3 million to spend on a house?
Exactly.
So I'm not pro or against either one. I'm just giving you a reason why things are happening the way they are, so you can understand the both ways. There's got to be something in between. So what happens is that the fair rent control keeps the rent down, but then it keeps the people from building new houses, which makes the rent go up.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a double-edged sword, isn't it? It's catch-22.
Exactly. On top of that, one of the big problems that you have is that if you have a property owner or developer that builds a house, and now there's no money for maintenance, no money for repairs, no money for upkeep, the thought is that all of these homes that are built in areas in the past that had a lot of the rent control, they ended up becoming deteriorated because the developers either walk away from the buildings, brand new buildings, or they don't have money to keep the buildings up, make repairs, fix the roofs, or do the different things that need to be done. And so therefore, in the long run, the person who has the lower rent ends up paying the price by the maintenance being deferred and nothing's getting fixed.
Exactly, very true.
So what's the answer? Well, I don't have the answer, but one of the things that I would suggest, is that maybe they can tack the increase in rents, this is a new theory, to the consumer price index or either the inflation index.
That's a good idea.
Therefore, as the inflation goes up, then the landlord is allowed to increase the rent, not for an exorbitant amount. We've had rents in the past couple of years where the rent went from $900 to $1,500, $1,800.
60% increases.
60% increase. Now, if you can tack it to inflation, then you're allowing the developer. The developer has to make money. Remember, here's another important point which you and I talk about a lot. If a developer who's building homes and has property and has a certain pool of money, if he can see where he's not going to make any money building houses, then he'll take that money and put it in bonds.
Exactly.
He'll put it where the money is guaranteed. He can put it in what they call treasury bonds, T-notes.
Yep.
He can put that money into a bond where the United States government is going to guarantee him a certain amount of yield or profit.
Yes. Well, people don't realize a lot of these big companies who have a large amounts of money, hundreds of millions, they want the easiest way to guarantee a return. And when they see real estate becoming very volatile, and then real estate is a maintenance game. You got the taxes, you got to worry about pipes bursting, you got to worry about tenants. A lot of these, let's say hedge funds, big companies, they'll put the money in what my father said, T-bonds, treasury bonds, where the money is guaranteed. It's paid by the government. There's no taxes to pay as far as property taxes, maintenance on your tenants. So it's more of a safer bet for them.
It's a safer bet. If they're making 5% on real estate, and they're making 7% or 6 or 7%, or even the same 5% in a T-bond, they figure, hey, I'll put the money there and go on vacation and do nothing and still just make money without having to worry about rentals, materials, labor, all of those problems, whether the market's going up or down. It's guaranteed when they're putting it into bonds.
Exactly.
So, most people out there can relate to bonds. When you had small children and you would put it into bonds, birthday, you buy a child a savings bond, United States savings bond.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, you say, well, it's guaranteed. The government is guaranteeing we know that's guaranteed money. Can't lose that. You take the savings bond. I've done the same thing. I've done it for you. You buy the savings bond, you put it in the safe deposit box, put it over here, and you say, oh, it's going to be worth X amount of dollars when he's 18 or 20, and you forget about it. It's got dust on it. Because it's going to be there, it's guaranteed. Now, if I had said in those days, oh, I'll take this money and I'll put it in real estate, then I got to stay up nights thinking, oh,
is it going up, is it going down?
Is it going up, is it going down? Oh,
should I sell, should I
tenant
hold?
called me, oh, the toilet's clogged up, oh, I got to run over there, I got to do this. What's the neighbor going to be like, what's happening? Hey, if it's sitting there in a savings bond, I'm not worried about anything. I just wait to cash it in.
Very true.
So on a bigger scale, you have the same thing happening with corporations.
But I will say the good thing about the interest rates going up and kind of getting corporate money out of the real estate is going to help the buyers, as far as, even though the interest rate's higher, you'll have less competition with these investors because they realize they can't borrow the money cheaper than what they can invest in that.
Exactly. So, if you just tuned in, again, my name is Charles Scott. I'm the broker for Tri-State Realty, and this is Charles Scott Jr. He's a co-broker for Tri-State Realty. We've been in business for 38 years. What we're doing is we're giving you a lot of education, trying to let you know why things happen, what's going on out there, the pros and the cons. We're talking today about the fair rent controls. We're talking about affordability issues, what's happening in the marketplace, what's happening as far as the laws, the legal system, how you can be able to plan ahead and see through some of the pluses and minuses of real estate.
Yes.
Some of the things that you should do.
And one thing we always want to mention, as as it still exists, is the Time to Own program for our Connecticut viewers. Remember, the Time to Own program is still out there as far as money for your down payment, money for your closing costs. Any questions you have, that you can always call us also.
Exactly. There's money out there right now. One of the biggest deterrents to buying a home is having to be able to save up the down payment.
Yes.
So there's money out there. There was so many millions of dollars to start off with, but there's still, $500,000 or something like that, 400,000?
There's 4.1 million there right now.
$4.1 million out there now. And that's to help people with down payment and closing costs to be able to put them into a home.
Yes.
You got to realize, when I started out in real estate, you had to put 20% down to buy a house. 20% down.
20% down.
20%. People saved back in those days. But now with the cost of food, gas, clothing, this, that, it's hard to save.
Well, we saw that documentary the other day. For the average worker, for them to save up for the down payment for a 3.5%, FHA is 8 years for them to get all that money together.
And today I was just watching a documentary just today, and it said it's hard for the average person to save 20% to put down on a house when a $400 doctor bill knocks them for a loop.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You got an unexpected $400 doctor bill, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't plan for that. So it's hard to plan to put all that money together for the house at the same time.
Exactly.
Another thing that the documentary said today is one that I just watched. It said that there's various banks across the United States that have down payment assistance programs, but they need to be more uniform.
Yes.
People get confused. This bank has this program. This bank has that program. This bank has that program. But remember, when everybody's giving you something, they're taking something.
Exactly.
So it's a give and take. So we're going to give you this, but we're going to charge you more over here.
Or you have to live in this area.
You got to live here. You do this. So it gets to be confusing, and people sometimes just give up. They say, oh, this is too complicated. But
luckily, if they have us here, we are actually DAP experts. DAP is what is called Down Payment Assistance Program. So if you ever have any questions, be sure to give us a call, because we study these DAP programs, and they're although they are confusing, we actually, we have experience with them.
That's why you get a professional like a realtor, your insurance person, your mortgage person.
Yes.
And we work with people that have been doing this for years. We all like sort of talking the same language. The people that we work with, the mortgage people, the down payment assistance people, we work with all of these people so that when you come to us, it's like a one-stop shop program. We can advise you, we can tell you, and we don't say you got to do this, you got to do that. We just let it out there. We put it out there like what the guy on one of my Joe Madison. I watch him a lot or listen to him a lot on the XM radio. He says we put it out there where the cows can get it.
Yeah, there you go.
It's right out there, simple and easy. You can understand it.
Yes.
So that we take all of it, so it's not complicated. Another thing I wanted to mention today is that the state of Connecticut is rolling out the United CT?
Unite CT to help people who are facing eviction. Go to ct.gov and just check it out. It's for people that are in the process of eviction. You have to upload your your eviction proceedings.
And from what I understand, they can give you up to $5,000 to help you if you're behind on your rent payment.
Yes.
State of Connecticut, Unite CT.
Yes.
Look into that program. Tell your friends, anybody out there that's behind in their rent payments, go to that website and you can apply to help people, help the state will help you.
Very true.
Time is up already.
Yeah, time's
we
up
just
already.
started.
So yes, but luckily, everyone, you can always look at the previous episodes. Like I said, Can We Talk on YouTube or Facebook? Look us up, and then we can go from there. Until next week.
God bless.
Amen.